Let me know if you are able to see my screen.
Yeah, I can see.
Okay. So we will start with the introduction of BI. I mean,
Mm,
the BI and BW is an interchangeable word.
yeah.
Sometimes we use BI, sometimes we use BW.
Good.
Right. I will explain what is the difference technically. Okay.
Yep.
When we go into the details. So this will talk about the introduction of business intelligence, then the overall architecture of the SAP Business Intelligence. Then we'll, I know this will be some little bit technical terminologies which you might have not heard of until now. We'll talk
Yeah.
about what are the info objects, what is an info area, right? And how do we
Mm,
create them? How do we create the info area in SAP BI BW? We'll also look at the screens. How does it look? Right? How does SAP BI look? What are the transaction codes? How do we log in? Right? All those things. How do we create info area? How do we create info objects? What are they used for? Right? How do we create the characteristics and the key figures? That is something in chapter 6 and 7. What is a DSO? DSO meaning the data store object. Right? This is a technical
yeah.
object. These are all technical objects in BW. Why we use it? What is a standard DSO? What is right optimized DSO? What is direct update DSO? Right? And then what is an info set? What is an info cube? What is multi-provider? Right? How do we create these objects? How do we load the data into these objects? Right? Why do we load data? How do we fetch the data from one SAP system to the SAP BW system? Okay.
Mm,
What is star schema, extended star schema? Probably you might have listened about or heard about star schema while you were studying your computer,
yeah. Yeah.
right? So how is star schema applied in SAP BI world? What is the process chain? How do we create them? How do we monitor them? Right? What the standard content, SAP BI standard content? What is a query designer, Bex query designer? Right? All those things we will see. Okay, and there are
Okay.
some advanced features also which is not listed out on the in this page, but there are some advanced techniques also. If time permits, we'll also go through over it.
Okay.
Okay, is this fine?
Yeah.
Okay. If any topic that you would like to include which is not there in this document at any point of time you feel I would also look to want to learn more into detail, then also it can be covered. Okay. So
Sure.
it's not hard code phrase that will go only by this document. We can also adjust it according to the time that permits, and we can include some new topics, or we can exclude some basic topics if you want.
Yeah.
Okay, I do not intend to exclude anything from this, but then we'll definitely include more topics as we move ahead. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. uh, I will not log into the system today. My intention is to go over to the introduction first,
Yeah.
and then we will see when we want to log into the system. Okay.
Yeah.
Now SAP, before even I talk about SAP BW or SAP BW for HANA or HANA SAP HANA, right? uh,
Yeah.
Business intelligence, as the term suggests, it's like applying intelligence to their business, right? And business warehouse means something you are, you know what is a warehouse, right? We store our goods
Yeah.
in the warehouse, right? So companies, when they produce something, they store it somewhere in the warehouse and then they dispatch it to their distributors and retailers, right?
Yeah.
Similarly, when it comes to systems, there is a lot of data being generated in our day-to-day operations, right? So where do we store that data? We store the data in a warehouse. When the data is stored in a warehouse, that is called business warehouse, right? SAP started it, no, introduced this business warehouse, I think in late 90s or early 2000, I think
Mm,
few years on 2005 something, right? Wherein they had two different, they had one, initially they had this one operational system called as SAP R3.
mm,
SAP R3 was nothing but the ERP solution coming out of SAP for their uh, operational processing, right? So wherein this sales related invoices, orders, billings, right? Then payments, all these kind of normal business operations were carried out in one system. Okay, and that was called as an OLTP. Okay, what is
Yep.
OLTP? It is online transaction processing. Okay, so whatever you know, right, when a business is being performed or done, right, you purchase
Mm.
raw material.
Yep.
A very simple example. There is a company who produces goods, right? So it will have its own manufacturing facility, right? It will have its own resources in terms of manpower and the money and the production facilities, right? And all machineries and all those things. So it will, while it is producing the goods, it's manufacturing goods, it will have to source the raw materials from the suppliers, right?
Yep.
And then when it, in the process of manufacturing, there may be some byproducts getting created, and then the final product is being manufactured. Once the final product is manufactured, it is stored somewhere in the warehouse, it is being sold to the distributor, and from distributor it goes to the retailer, or it may go directly to the retailer, right? Depends on the type of business and the type of model they adopt, right? This is the overall process, right? Once the product is sold to the customer, then they receive the payment from the customer, right?
Yep.
They send the invoice first to the customer and they receive the payment, right? So this is the overall operation. Now within this, what I said in last 2 minutes, all these are different parts of a business, right? When you
Yep.
have a supplier who gives you raw material, then you have a supplier, right? And there has to be a supplier in the system, right? Otherwise, how would my system know that I'm getting a raw material from this particular supplier? So there has to be a supplier who should be created in the system. There should be a customer who should be created in the system. There should be a raw material in the system, registered in the system. There should be a byproduct in the system. There should be the all this machineries, plants, and all those things should also be uh, maintained in the system, right? And then when you produce a final product and you send the invoice, then uh, uh, you have to generate the invoice, send it to the customer. Your supplier will send the invoice to you, right? You have to make the payment to the supplier, you have to receive the payment from the customer. All these things are part of business operations, right? So each of these
Yep.
operations are carried out in the SAP ERP world, right? There's the ERP system, right? Enterprise resource planning, right? It's so in this, all this ERP system, all these are different modules of SAP. Okay, when you are maintaining the materials in the system, there is a separate module for it, SAP material management. When you are doing the transactions with your customer, you send invoices, receive payments, then you have separate SAP sales and distribution, which you already know,
Yep.
right? So that is a
Yeah.
separate module inside the same system. Okay, it's one system, SAP only, but then these are different
Module.
within the SAP, which takes care of your normal day-to-day operations. Then you
Yep.
have materials management, you have SD, then you have SAP finance and controlling, right, where you maintain your books of account, right,
Yep.
or for your generating your profit and loss statement and the balance sheet, right? All these things are carried out in the ERP system, SAP ECC system. I mean, I'll not call it ECC; it will confuse you. Let's call it as SAP R3. So when SAP introduced this ERP package in the market, it was called as R3. Okay, because it was a three-tier architecture. That's why it was called R3. Now, over a
Yep.
period of time, when you do the business, you generate the transactions on a daily basis, and while you generate the data in the system, it is getting stored in that system, and over a period of time, the data size becomes too large, right?
Yeah.
Imagine you have production facilities spread across the globe,
Mm.
right? Wherein one or the other machinery is manufacturing one or the other product every day round the clock 24 by 7 without any break. If there is a break, there is a machine is being repaired at some point of time at one location, but at the other location there will be some other machinery who's always working, some producing some other goods, right? So imagine a global company who is having manufacturing facilities spread across the globe, who is having the manpower spread across the globe, working in different time zones, different areas, different locations. So the system has to be up and running all the round the clock, right? 24 by 7,
Mhm.
right? And when your system is up and running round the clock, you have a lot of transactions, millions of transactions, not even hundreds of thousands, but millions and not tons of transactions which are getting generated in the system, right? So these transactions where these business operations are carried out is called as OLTP, online transaction processing system. Got it?
Yeah.
Okay. Now there is now when this transactions were being processed and saved in the system in the database, over a period of time the database size grew very large and it exploded at one point of time. So what happens, even for a normal business process or a normal business transaction, when your company wants to generate an invoice to bill it to your customer, it would take lot of time because then you have lot of data being there in the system in the back end to read it, right? So your system OLTP system becomes too slow, and when you want to generate reports out of it, you cannot even think of generating the reports in 10-15 minutes or maybe half an hour because your normal business operations are itself affected. You are not able to print your invoice, you are not able to generate the invoice, you are not able to bill your customer. Then your payment, incoming payment also gets delayed, right? So all of these
Yeah.
problems started accumulating when your system generates too much of data and stores too much of data. So SAP realized that the reports cannot be generated out of the same system where the data is stored, OLTP,
Mm.
because of its nature, having generating the tons of data in a short period of time, right? So it cannot be the same system where I can generate my reports and also generate my transactions, create my transactions. So SAP felt a need to have a separate system on which the reporting can be done, right? Because when you
Yeah.
do these business transactions, you definitely, your business people would like to have the reports, right?
Yeah.
What are my outstanding payments which I have to make to the supplier? Who are the outstanding customers who are overdue more than 90 days from which I have to receive the payment, right? Where is my what you call uh, the inventory going? How is my inventory doing? Whether I have enough of raw material to supply to support the production facility or not, right? All those answers can be answered by them, can be dealt with by the business people only when they have the reports in front of them. So SCP felt that reports cannot be generated out of the same OLTP system. It has to be a separate system, which they call it as OLAP, online analytical processing. Got it?
Mm. Yep.
So SAP came up with a suggestion or with the idea of creating a separate system called as online analytical processing, which is now called as the SAP BW, the business warehouse. So what they do is
Mm.
the data which is generated in this OLTP system is being transferred or not transferred, but it is getting loaded into the OLAP system into SAP BW,
Yeah.
and then you generate the reports of out of this OLAP system SAP BW, so that you free up the resources which are consumed for generating the report. You don't consume the resources of SAP R3.
Okay.
Got it?
Yeah.
So this is where SAP came up with the idea of creating a separate system called as SAP BW. This is how SAP BW was introduced, I think in late 90s or early 2000s. And
Mm.
then over a period of time, We will see how it has evolved. Okay, in a few slides I will show you. So what is a data warehouse? Having said the OLTP, now I've given the background about the SAP R3 and SAP BW. Right? What is OLTP and what is OLEP? Right? Let me give you a technical definition of a data warehouse. As I explained you, right, a company produces goods, it has to store somewhere the goods, right?
Yep.
Similarly, the data is produced in the system in OLTP, it has to store somewhere because of the reporting needs or because of the intelligence that you want to apply to your business needs, right? So a data
Yep.
warehouse is a core part of a business intelligence solution. Let me present it in a put it in a presentation mode. Moment. Okay. So a data warehouse is a core part of business intelligence solution, and the three main roles of a data warehouse is to acquire, integrate, and manage the data from anywhere across an organization. So you have a large organization, it has footsteps in EMEA region, in US region, in APEC region, right, in Europe region. So you want to acquire, integrate, and manage data from anywhere within the organization, right?
Yep.
Nowadays, this has not limited to an organization. You have to acquire data, integrate it, and manage it the from the systems which are lying outside your organization as well, right? You need to integrate systems which are outside your organization, right? Say for example, a bank, right? A bank has to
Yep.
integrate itself not only within that bank's system, but it has to integrate with the outside central government agencies also for their for with the other banks also they have to integrate, right?
Yep.
The money flows seamlessly, right? So it's not
Yep.
only within the organization but across the organizations, right?
Yep.
This definition has expanded more. The second role that a data warehouse plays, it should provide the sophisticated data modeling capabilities on the acquired data, right? So once you acquire the data, it should have a sophisticated data modeling capabilities so that you create a data model and then you present it and create a report out of it, right? The third capability it should have is it should present a single view of model data to all your analytical applications and reporting solutions, right? So these are the three main features of SAP, any data warehouse, not only SAP, but any data warehouse, right? First, it should acquire, integrate, and manage data from organization within the organization.
Sir, did you have share another screen or it's the same table of content?
It is the same screen. What is a data warehouse?
Yeah,
Which screen are you seeing?
a table of contents.
Sorry, develop content.
Yeah.
Oh
Sir.
my God. Sorry. Thanks for pointing out. I was showing some other screen probably. Okay. Uh, Let me see if I can. Let me end the sharing and then reshare it. Okay. Sorry, my bad. Can you see my screen now?
Yeah.
It presented.
Yeah. It's introduction to SAP BW architecture.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. 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 Mhm. So I was just talking when I was talking about OLAP, and
Yeah.
yeah, I think I was presenting this page, but nevertheless, it's not much of a thing that you have missed. But let me see if I can put it to the presentation. Or mm, it is not going to the mode that I want to. Again, which screen you are seeing now? Same, right? Introduction to
Yeah.
B.
Yeah. It's the same.
Is it changed now? What is a data warehouse?
Yeah. What is data warehouse?
Okay, okay. Are you also seeing the side panel where you
Next
see?
slide. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, okay. Let me just limit it to the this particular screen. Okay. Anyway, for now this is okay. Okay. So we talked about OLAP and OLTP, right? Now I was talking about the data warehouse definition, right?
I can't see now your screen.
Oh, it has lost.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm presenting now again.
Yeah. Now I can see.
All right.
Yeah.
So I was talking about the data warehouse, right? What are the three key roles of a data warehouse?
Data warehouse.
It should acquire, integrate, and manage data from anywhere across the organization. It should provide sophisticated data modeling capabilities on the acquired data,
Capabilities.
and then
Yeah.
it should present a single view of model data to all the analytical applications and reporting solutions. All right. Okay. What is the these are the key roles. The earlier we discussed these are the key roles. Now we talk further more about data warehouse. The key objective of a data warehouse is to provide the complete history of the organization's entire data set, and it should be accurate, right? Say
Yeah.
the organizer has been operating the business since 20 years or more than 50 years. It should be
Mm.
the data warehouse should have the capacity to store all the historical data, right? And it should be accurate,
Yeah.
right? Because then you are creating a separate system, right? And it's a
Yeah.
copy of the original data that you have, right? Because you have
Yeah.
original data in your OLTP, but now you are creating an OLAP system, a business warehouse system, BW, where you are storing those data. It should be accurate, right? And then you should be able to ask any question on that data and have the answer, have that question answered quickly, and you should be able to trust that answer, right?
Yeah.
The when you ask any questions and you get answers, the performance should be acceptable. You should get the immediate quick response, right? Otherwise there is
Yeah.
no point in waiting for few hours to get the data, right?
Yes.
And it should not be redundant, right? There should not be any data which is redundant. It should not have some duplicate data, right? So often this data warehouse is also referred to as a data mart, right? But
Yeah.
data mart is simply a data warehouse which is used to manage only limited part of organization's data, such as, for example, sales and distribution, right? So you have an
Yeah.
SD data mart, then you have procurement data mart, right? So when we call data mart, it's limited to a specific part of the organization data. It's not the complete set of data that organization has, right?
Mm.
So we refer to as a data warehouse when we talk about the enterprise
And
enterprise systems, right? And when you are managing the entire organization data, it is referred to as the enterprise data warehouse. Okay.
yep.
Okay. Now this particular slide, I'm showing the history of SAP BW, which I was talking just few minutes back. SAP BW is a packaged solution that provides a complete
But
tool
so
set.
I see it's the same screen. Introduction to the SAP BW.
Introducing SAP BW, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm talking from that slide only. Introducing
Okay.
SAP BW. So we have 5 points over there, right? So
Uh,
SAP is a package solution that provides complete toolset to rapidly deploy an enterprise-wide on-premise data warehouse out of the box. What does this mean? This means SAP has provided you a packaged solution, and it has all the toolset to rapid which you can rapidly deploy on your on-premise data warehouse for your reporting needs, right? So it is a package solution. When you buy SAP BW software from SAP, you get a complete package solution. Okay, and this solution has all the tool sets required to deploy it rapidly, and also how you manage the data warehouse. All the tool sets are provided by SAP BW. Okay, so as I said, right, it was introduced in the late 90s. So here you have the right exact year when it was introduced. It was in the year 1998 when SAP was BW was introduced into the market. And it was, it was based on the SAP NetWeaver application. NetWeaver is a something technology on which SAP created this SAP BW system, right? And it was written in an ABAP language, and it requires a database to run. So you have a database on top of which
mm,
this NetWeaver technology sits, right? And then your programs are written in the ABAP language, SAP ABAP language. Okay, ABAP means Advanced Business Application Programming Language. I think you might have heard and studied
yeah, I
something
have heard.
when you have studied your computer science, right? So
Yep.
from 98 when SAP BW was introduced, it was version 3.x. SAP BW 3.x was introduced in the initial years, and over a period of time, right, SAP grew it, added new features, and in 2012 SAP added one more, SAP HANA, as one of the supported databases for this system. So earlier this
Yep.
BW was, was based on Oracle database or SQL database or MS SQL database, right? In 2012, SAP added their own database called as SAP HANA, which was
Mm,
supporting this SAP BW.
yep.
And with the introduction of this new database, there were new powerful objects that were specifically optimized for SAP HANA database. So new objects were created, were introduced in SAP BW, right, as a part of their tool set, which can be specifically optimized for SAP HANA database. Okay. In
Yep.
2015, they provided a software component, which they call it as SAP BW powered by SAP HANA, right? So SAP BW system powered by SAP HANA database, right? So this was the software component introduced. 2012, it was only the SAP HANA database which was introduced, and on top of SAP HANA, SAP BW system was sitting, right? In 2015,
Yep.
they introduced a software component. Earlier, it was a package solution. Now they introduced a software component called as SAP BW powered by SAP HANA, right? And this particular software component later got called on as SAP BW 4 HANA, SAP BW slash 4 HANA,
Yep.
right? And then 2016 onwards, SAP completely rewrote their SAP BW programs to run exclusively on SAP HANA database. Okay, so this
So I
particular,
think we are on different screen because I can see only this screen with the blue patch where it's like the 4 point is located.
Which slide you see? Introducing SAP BW right now you are seeing?
Yeah, but it's the only the introduction to SAP BW. Then it's like
Yeah.
BW architecture, difference between OLAP and the OLTP business modeling. It's not the details slide, I mean to say.
Oh my God, why is it so?
It's it
There is.
introduction to SAP, but it is the only the overview. I mean, it's not the details slide with the blue parts. It's
Mhm.
17.
Understood. Let me see why it is happening. I think let me unshare it and then reshare it. I think there is something wrong I'm doing, or let me share my entire screen. So then when switch to this different screen, it should be visible to you. I will share the complete screen. Give me a moment. Now I think it should be visible to you whatever I am showing.
Yup. Ah,
Right? What is it showing now? Introducing SAP
it's
BW, right?
SAP and with the five subpoints. Exactly.
Yeah. Can you see the next screen where it's blue bar?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. 1998, 2015.
Yeah. 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 So earlier I was just talking about these 5 points. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, that is,
Should
yeah.
I repeat them or it's
No,
okay?
no, no, no. It's fine. It's fine. I got it.
Okay. So in 1998, SAP BW 1.0 was introduced. It was later moved to SAP BW 3.x, and then it was moved to 7.x on any database. Okay. Over a period of time, when it came to 2012, it introduced SAP HANA as a database, right? And then SAP, this 7.x version later on moved to 7.3 and 7.5. And as I said, right, it introduced SAP BW powered by HANA,
Yep.
right? And then when it came to 2015, it created the software component which they called it SAP BW powered by HANA. And then later on in 2016, they created SAP BW for HANA version 1.0 and then later 2.0 in 2016.
Yep.
Okay. Now this is the overview of the architecture of SAP BW,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
So you have three different parts of this. I will now we'll understand this particular architecture in three different pieces. So at the bottom
Yep.
you have the sources, right? In the middle part you have this yellow box called as the SAP HANA, right? This is your SAP HANA database, right? And on the top you have the BI clients, right? So what this particular sources means, this is the source from where you get your data into the SAP
Data.
BW system, right? So it may be an SAP ECC or SAP R3 system or SAP S4 HANA system or any SAP CRM system or SAP SuccessFactors system or maybe some, say for example, Salesforce system, or it may be a Snowflake, right? Any
Mm,
sources, SAP or non-SAP. We'll
mm,
call it as sources for now, right?
yep.
Not to make it too complex, right? So we get data, we bring data into SAP BW from any of the sources, right?
Yep.
This is our yellow box is our SAP HANA database. As I said, SAP BW sits on top of the SAP HANA database,
Yep.
right? And this gray color box is your SAP BW system where you
Okay.
store the data, right? And on top of it, you have the BI clients. This means
Mm,
when you store the data in BW and when you are connected to the BI clients,
mm,
you create your reports in your BI clients, and the
mm,
user are directly connected to the BI clients.
mm,
Okay, they are not directly connected to the SAP BW system. And for their reporting or for their analytical needs, for their business intelligence needs, you will create the reports in BI clients. Maybe they are SAP BI clients or non-SAP BI clients, right? For example, when we talk of SAP BI client, it is SAP Bex query analyzer. Then you have SAP Analytics Cloud, right? SAP Analysis for Office. All those are BI clients. SAP is provided BI clients. If you talk about SAP non-SAP BI clients, these are, for example, Power BI, Tableau,
Yeah.
right? You can connect to this SAP BW system, and then you can create your reports which can be consumed by end users, right? So coming to the middle part again, this is where our entire course will be majorly focused upon, right? Within this gray box, and little bit on the sources side as well as on the BI clients as well. Okay. So within the SAP BW, you have multiple layers where you store your data, right? When you talk about
Yeah.
data warehouse, normally you don't if you go to a normal data warehouse, you would see that they have organized the data warehouse and placed their goods in a very organized fashion, so that they can locate where the which kind of goods is kept where, and they could easily locate it and easily do the rest of the operations, right?
Yeah.
Similarly, when it comes to BW, SAP BW and handling of data, it has to be done in an organized way, right? So the it has different layers where you store your data. So when you acquire the data from source systems, with SAP system or non-SAP system, you store them in the initial layer of your database of your SAP BW system, which is called as data acquisition layer,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
Then once your data acquisition layer is created, when you store the data in the first layer, then on top of layer, you create one more layer which may
Okay.
be optimized, which may be, you have some business transformations which are applied to that particular data to support your analytical needs,
Mm.
right? There may be a lot of business rules that may have been defined that you need to define in the system,
Mm.
lot of transformations that you want to apply to your data, right? After acquiring the data from source, you want to apply some transformations, you want to generate some master data, or you want to generate some more uh, columns which are not available in the source system, some fields you want to generate for your reporting needs, for your analytical needs. Then you store it in the, you process, move that data or copy it from data acquisition to the data warehousing layer, and while copying it from here to here, you apply your business rules,
Yeah.
right? That layer is called as data warehousing layer.
Okay.
Okay. And uh, on the left hand side, you see this vertical blue box that is called the repository layer, right?
Yeah.
So this repository layer is created for your historical data, right? So yeah, when you want to have too much of old data which is not getting used very frequently, you create this repository layer, and you, this is being parallelly created while this layers are being also storing the data. So you have
Okay.
one more parallel repository getting created so that your old historical data can be fetched from this layer. And on top
Yeah.
of the data warehousing layer, data acquisition layer, you create your BW queries. BW queries are the technical queries created in the system on which the reports will be based. Okay, so this basically these are the reports.
Yeah.
It is the technical part of the report which only the consultant or you guy like you and me would know, not the end user.
Yeah.
End user will use the analytical engine of SAP, which is called as OLAP, online analytical
Okay.
engine. OLAP engine, they will access the analytical OLAP engine while they run the query in Power BI or Tableau or Analysis for Office. Okay,
Yeah.
and I will not talk too much on the right hand side because it will get, you'll get confused. Okay, we'll come to, we'll discuss there when once we reach there.
Okay.
Okay, I think we are at 2020 some. We have still 3 minutes to go. In the
Yeah.
interest of, right, let me move to the next slide. Okay, now this is the overview of the architecture of SAP BW that we discussed. Now we are talking about LSA plus plus architecture of SAP BW.
Mm.
Okay, now LSA means it is layered. This one, the first diagram, this is the layered structured architecture of SAP BW. LSA view of the SAP BW. Okay.
Yep.
Now SAP later on came up with the new architecture which they call it as LSA plus plus. So layered structure architecture plus plus.
Yep.
Some more additional features with some more modern capabilities and some modern architecture is being applied or implemented in the system.
Yep.
Okay. So here you see now we are not talking about any other database, right? At the bottom you have the
Mm.
SAP HANA database, right?
Yep.
Then at the bottom you have this, within this gray box it is now called as BW schema, and you also have the SAP HANA schema,
Yep.
right? Within these two schemas you have this the earlier you had this now acquisition layer, right? Initially when you get the data from the source, you put it,
Mm.
if you recollect this diagram, right, it has this lower blue box. Data acquisition layer was the first layer where data was brought into BW, right?
Yep.
In the LSA plus plus architecture, now your first layer of data where it is stored is the open operational data store layer. Okay,
Mm.
this is the first layer, this little white box, right? This is your first
Yeah.
layer where in the BW system where data will be stored.
It's true.
And these are the technical objects within these BW system, data store objects and SAP HANA models. Okay.
Yep.
So there's technical objects which stores the data actually, because when you want to store data from SAP ECC or SAP R3 or S4 HANA, right, you have to store it
Yep.
somewhere, right?
Yeah.
You cannot store it directly on the database. Within the database also you need to create some tables, right, where you want
Yeah.
to store data. So these are,
Mm.
we'll talk what is data store objects, but for now you can just resemble it with the kind of a table.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
And then on top of it, or top of the open ODS layer, you have uh, you have the another corporate memory layer, and then enterprise data warehouse core layer, and then architected data mart layer, right? These are
Mm.
different layers which on top of this open operational data layer, whereby you create the transformations, apply your business logic, and you store
Mm.
data, right?
Mm.
And on top of this all these layers you create a virtualization layer, and
Mm.
on top of the virtualization layers you create the BW queries which are then consumed
Mm.
end users. Okay. Now you will have a question, why do we create so much of layers within one system, right?
Yeah.
Right, we need to structure the data in an organized way so that when you want to fetch that data, you can easily fetch,
Mm.
and you can locate it where my this kind of data resides,
Okay.
right? Each of this layer has been created because it has its own needs. Okay. will,
Mm.
you will not understand at this point of time, but I will not also mention right now. Once we go into the details, you will understand why this kind of different layers do we have.
Yep.
Okay. uh, so it's 10:31. I think we should
Mm.
stop now because I don't want to bombard too many theoretical concepts on you. These are all theoretical parts we you need to
Yeah.
understand. They are very very important for you to work as a BI consultant. Okay.
Yeah.
Because you need to understand the architecture, how SAP evolved, how SAP, what was the need of
Yep.
SAP BW. We started
Yeah.
from what was the need of SAP BW, how it
Mm.
evolved from 1998 until 2016, right? What was
Yeah.
the original architecture, which was this particular diagram, and
Mm.
then what is its latest architecture? This is his latest architecture, right?
Mm.
Okay, so we'll stop.
Mm.
To,
Yeah. So can you share the recording to me, or it's
we haven't. I think. Okay, they have recorded, right? So probably you can ask them. I don't have the access to the recording. Probably you can put the message in the WhatsApp
uh,
group, and they
okay?
should
Okay. No problem.
recording. Okay.
Okay.
I
Yes.
will stop sharing the screen now. And if you have any questions until now, you can ask.
No.
No. Okay. Fine.
No. No. No.
Continue. How do you want this sessions every day, every weekday?
Like I don't know like how it works, but they said me that it's like 4 days, I guess, 4 days a week, and it will take like 2.5 to 3 months, right?
I don't think we'll take too much long. We'll try to finish as early as possible, right? Provided you are satisfied and your all your queries are answered. Okay.
Yeah, because they have given me the access for that, like
System, right?
for the system. Yeah, I guess for 2 months. Yeah, at the end of February.
Yeah, yeah. So we'll cover all the topics before 2 months, but then if you have any questions beyond 2 months also, then also we can discuss. Okay.
So like for 4 days a week, it's good for me because I'm not available on weekend.
Mm.
That's why.
Okay. Okay.
So
Fine.
weekdays will be the fine.
Weekends I'm also not, on some of the weekdays, and I will have I may not be available, but I will see if we can join early.
No, no problem.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll discuss over the group if someday I'm not available, because uh, I have to travel to my office some of the weekdays, and it takes for me 2 hours to travel to that place. Okay.
Okay, no problem. It's
When I
fine.
go to office, probably we may not have this call, but if I'm working from, then we can definitely have this call.
Yeah, sure.
This week is a shortened week because of the Christmas holidays. Probably you may also
Yeah.
not be available, right?
Yeah.
25th, 26th, and 27th, 28th, right?
Yeah.
Right. So we'll see if we can. We'll.
For me, it's okay because here it's early morning.
Uh,
Like I start my day like after 8 or 9. But as you say, like if you are available, it's okay. When you're
yeah.
not, it's
If I'm
fine.
not traveling, if I have some travel plans. If I'm not traveling, then we'll have this class on Thursday as
No.
well, on 25th. Right. If I'm
Okay.
traveling, then I'll put a message that no. Right.
Okay. No problem.
And
Yeah.
FYI, also belong to Gujarat, so I understand Gujarati as well, right? So, okay. Right.
So
I
are you
mean,
belong to Gujarat? Or?
I'm a Gujarati. I'm a Gujarati guy.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm-
That's
I stayed there for I was born and brought up in Ahmedabad. Later on,
okay.
I settled down in Pune,
Okay.
mm,
That's good.
because of the IT
Thank
problem.
you.
Okay. Thank you so
Yeah.
much for your
Thank
time.
you so